And now what has happened is that because these individuals have lost their grid system all over the planet, because numerous of these sacred sites have been taken back by white hats, because of that fact, and the fact that there's such high frequencies that they're not going to be able to mess with it again, because they can't go into a high frequency and bring it low the way that they did last time, because now our grid is so much stronger. There's so much more of our connections than there are of theirs. And now the Q mind, the Q grid system, or whatever you want to call it, of consciousness, the collective mind of the species is evolving into these higher dimensions of reality that we don't perceive with our five senses. You see, now that we have control of the grid system and our positive vibes are actually like more powerful than their negative ones, they're trying as hard as they can to push as much negative vibrations, create as much division, as much fear, as much chaos, as much anger, et cetera, as they possibly can. And that's why there's the second wave in the United States, because this is our second wave right here to them. We're waving it. Yeah, right here. It ain't gonna happen. Not in the United States. And what they've done is they've tried to create so much fear, especially in the youth. That's why they're trying to affect the schools. And when the schools open, because they're essentially trying to traumatize our youth very early on. It's part of satanic ritual abuse. It's part of compartmentalizing whole populations. All you have to do is just look into Adolf Hitler and the fact that they were into all that shit. Anyway, what they're trying to do is they're trying to influence the youth into believing in this fear-based narrative. So this dad here, his son said he didn't want his dad to get out of the car because he thought the white police were going to shoot him. So this dad's like, nah, this is bullshit. So he takes his son out and he holds hands with the cops, takes a picture with the cops to show the cops are good people and it's all good, son. He's trying to dispel the fear. Good on you, sir. Let's make love the next pandemic. What do you say? Let's make love the next plandemic. Let's make love the next fad, and not one that just goes away. Let's make this idea of having equality, like real equality, not because it's government enforced, but because it's enforced by our hearts. Let's have that be the next movement. Because when all of our hearts unite, when we all recognize that we are like this non-local consciousness, that we're all essentially like this interconnected being of love and light, of peace and harmony, then we won't want to fight. We won't want to cause disharmony. We will want to preserve that positive timeline and try to reach higher and higher levels of positive timelines and positive love-filled and bliss-filled timelines, right? Abundance, essentially. And one of the ways to do that, you guys, is by killing all disease. And that's not a problem. We already talked about Dr. Rife. And if you want to talk about like things like reversing the aging process and helping people that are, you know, not faring very well and stuff like that, all we have to do is look into stem cell research. You can get stem cells from things like umbilical cords. So this idea of aborting children is absolutely asinine, especially considering the fact that that's a life. And especially considering the fact that that affects the timelines in the future, right? And think about this. The umbilical cord has stem cells. So not only would having that life in the world be a good thing for that child, but it would also be a good thing for everybody that needs the stem cells in that umbilical cord or in that placenta. I'm just saying there's a reason why the system is built this way. It's because it's not broken. It was built this way. Okay? It was built to profit these people, these Satanists. Okay, now imagine combining a disease-killing frequencies with something like an anti-aging frequency, which it's out there, okay, with things like stem cell therapy. We're talking about reversing the aging process. We are talking about like long life periods, like 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. And I'm not kidding. The science is there. It's just been suppressed. This is heaven on earth, baby. This is how we win spiritual warfare. Instead of allowing these people to do their death magic and create mass death all over the planet, what we do is we transform our societies with free energy technology, with like from Nikola Tesla, with Dr. Rife's technology and healing our bodies. We use this technology, this understanding about the dimensions of space and time, about the understanding of these higher frequencies of light, about our connection to everything, a connection to the earth, a connection to each other, to the planet, the plants, etc. We use this understanding to help build tools, you see, as opposed to allowing these other people that have this parasitic agenda to be the ones that are the tool makers or the society builders. So we're going to go from a tangled up Rubik's Cube as a species where we don't know what the puzzle's all about or how to solve it, to figuring out the formula. And when we figure out the formula, dude, if you know the formula, you can solve a Rubik's Cube in like under a minute or two. So we're going to go from a society that is using rocket propulsion and has mass famine and mass drug abuse and pharmaceutical companies monopolizing disease and mass amounts of crime and pollution and all that stuff. We're going to go from all that to mining asteroid fields instead of the Earth, so we don't cause, harm to the environment. There's not going to be very much crime because there's going to be an abundance of food. We're going to have a whole new healthcare system. I mean, we can do 3D printing food, and there's also other ways of farming and stuff like that that have not been allowed to be done because they be so prosperous, as funny as that is. We're going to have a whole transformation of the healthcare system. We're going to bring about this technology, this inertial propulsion, infinite Tesla coil technology into space, so we can, like I said, mine asteroids and stuff like that. We're going to understand the nature to sacred sites. We're going to understand the nature to planet-wide telepathy. Yes. Once everybody understands that we're all on a certain thought plane, almost like a radio station, that's going to be another boom in consciousness. That's going to be another evolution in consciousness, just like the Renaissance or the information age. And eventually we're going to create a utopia, a very real utopia, because we're all going to be in this high frequency love state where we understand the interconnection of all reality, when we understand the nature to consciousness, when we understand the idea of expanding our awareness to beyond the flesh to the point where we become as selfless as Christ. And that's what these people in the Kabbalah do not want. They do not want us to achieve Christ-level consciousness. That's what this war is all about. They do not want us all to achieve this really, really high-frequency, high-level state of self-awareness, where they cannot get to us, where they cannot control us, where they have no power. Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. It's been their terrible fear for millennia. Now, I'd like to show you a picture that is evidence that the spiritual war is very real in the dimensions of space and time, that we're talking like physically and metaphysically real, okay? This is that fire that was started, I believe, in Minneapolis. Look at this evil ball-looking creature, you guys. We are talking about an evil interdimensional force in a higher frequency of light that is beyond the five senses, okay? We are talking about like an evil demonic force from another dimension that has been being fed by these families for millennia. And now that we've stopped it, now that the white hats are in charge, patriots are in control, now that there's a whole lot more good in the world than evil, essentially we got this fucker out in the open. And trust me when I say, the people in the Q community, we know that God is real. You see something like this, you got to go, whoa. God must be pissed at Washington. It's like, wow. So there's obviously divine forces at work here, just like there have been negative forces, evil forces at work. But I'd like to end with this quote. In that day, the Lord will take his terrible swift sword and punish Leviathan, the swiftly moving serpent, the coiling, writhing serpent. He will kill the dragon of the sea. I believe that this is an end to communism. That's just my opinion. This is an end to the evil Temple of Set mentality that has tried to take over the planet. This is an end to the evil satanic mindset that has been trying to control and monopolize all of the people, all of the resources, and all of the minds on the planet. Basically trying to enslave everybody and affect their freedom of choice, affecting the timeline for generation after generation after generation. But God had different plans, you see. Did you not think that all those times that you badmouthed God, that you cursed God, that God wasn't listening? Do you really think that God doesn't have a plan
for those that disobey. Come on now. You obviously don't know God very well. You should do your research. God's real. Trust me on that. You don't need to do a bunch of research to figure that out either. You just have to experience it yourself. But while you're cursing God, I'm sure it's going to be hard to experience what God is like until it's too late.
All right, you guys. It's been a long one. I certainly hope that this has helped. I love you guys. Remember, knowledge always overcomes power. Thank you for your time.